Fellas, the UFC Lightweight division is one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC. Some people will say it is the most stacked division in the UFC, and today we're going to be trying to find out why exactly is the lightweight division so stacked in comparison to other divisions. Why does it have so many fun fights? Why has it got so many stars? Why is there so many, big fights going on in the lightweight division? And we're going to be trying to figure that out in today's video, so please let me know your thoughts on the lightweight division. But the first reason for me why the lightweight division is so big has to be because of the contenders. The contenders in the lightweight division are, the list goes on for the contenders. First of all, we've got the biggest star in the UFC, Conor McGregor, who carries the lightweight division in terms of star power. Obviously, he's the most popular fighter in the UFC, and when he's fighting, it's obviously going to bring eyes. We've also got people like Michael Chandler. We've got Islam Makhachev, the current UFC champion. We've got Charles Oliveira, one of the biggest stars. We've got Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson, and even though he's retired, we had Khabib Nurmagomedov. The list goes on for contenders. We've even got people that are kind of unranked in the division, like Paddy Pimblett. We've just had Bobby Green get a win. We've got a lot of stars in this division, Rafael Fiziev, Arman Tsarukyan. The list goes on. We even have people like Alexander Volkanovski, who's a huge star, moving up to the lightweight division. We've got people like Colby Covington threatening to move down. The lightweight division is it's kind of like the base division. Everyone wants to be in it. The lightweight belt's always getting fought for. I think that the contenders in the lightweight division for me have to be better than any other division. It's just stacked full of stars. More often than not, they put on good fights. I can't think of pretty much every single fighter on screen right now is always putting on fun fights, or at least high-level technical fights. But the contenders in the lightweight division for me, they are compared to no other. You look at any other division, let's say flyweight, for example. You look at a division like flyweight, and listen, I'm not saying none of them can fight, but none of them really have that star power. We've got Alejandro Pantoja, Brandon Moreno, Davison Figueiredo. We've got Kai Kara France. People are aware of him. We've got Manel Cap, but it doesn't have the same star power like the lightweight division does. It's got so many good fighters, but I just don't feel like a division like flyweight, it doesn't have that same buzz. Like, you look at a flyweight main event in a pay-per-view, and you think that's got to be quite of a weak pay-per-view. You look at a lightweight main event in a pay-per-view, you're instantly thinking it's stacked. We've got one coming up next with Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira, so I feel like the love for the lightweight division is just so much bigger than any other division in the UFC for me. So compared to other divisions, you're gonna have to give it to the lightweight division. It is absolutely stacked with contenders, and in comparison to other divisions, it kind of just stomps on them in terms of contenders. So that's the first reason. The next reason is two contenders in specific, Conor McGregor and Khabib. Now, they had the biggest fight in UFC history, and it happened to take place again in the lightweight division. When the biggest fight in the UFC is in the lightweight division, you're automatically going to get other people in the division who want fights with you. You're going to get people trying to move up to the lightweight division to try and get the same caliber fights. It kind of sets the tone for the lightweight division in terms of skill. People are interested in seeing who Khabib fight next. People want to see who McGregor fights next. It was the biggest fight in the UFC, and it was for the lightweight belt, and ever since this fight, that belt has still been extremely competitive. If you win the lightweight belt, you're doing something right, or even if you fight for the lightweight belt, you've got to be doing something right because it's extremely competitive. And McGregor and Khabib, like I said, they are the two biggest stars for me. They have to be the two biggest stars in the history of the UFC. They're both household names. Obviously, McGregor's bigger than Khabib, but Khabib's still a huge star because of the McGregor fight. Two absolutely massive household names, and they are just simply the two biggest stars in the UFC. And like I said before, huge build up between the two of them. The lightweight division was on notice. Everyone wanted to see which contenders Khabib should fight or McGregor should fight, and obviously it did happen in the lightweight division. So this fight, it kind of set the tone for the lightweight division. Before this fight, it was still it was a big division. We still had McGregor, we still had people like Eddie Alvarez, but this fight was really what transformed the lightweight division, and I like to say it was the new era of lightweight division. Ever since Khabib was the lightweight champion, I feel like it's been a completely new era of the division, but those two are just some examples of why. Then we've got the competitive champions, and I've said this before, the champion belt for the lightweight division is extremely competitive. This belt is one of the most competitive divisions in the UFC. If you win this belt, you've got to be an absolute A tier, S tier fighter. You've got to be the best in the division, because the amount of killers in this division, we've got people, like I said before, Rafael Fiziev, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and those are only some of them. Beneil Dariush, Gamrot. There's so many killers. And let's look at the lightweight divisions, you know, the competitive champions in the past couple of years. We had Khabib Nurmagomedov. Some people want to say he's one of the greatest of all time. One of the most dominating champions in the UFC. Undefeated. No one could beat him. Beats 99% of lightweights in the UFC. He did have 3 defenses. I think he could have got a lot more if he just let his career pan out a bit more. But he was one of the most dominant champions in the UFC. Obviously beating killers like Gaethje, Poirier, even McGregor at one point. We also then had Charles Oliveira since Khabib retired and vacated the belt. Charles Oliveira is not an easy guy to beat. He's had 2 defenses, and I am including Justin Gaethje. I know on paper that wasn't a defense, but just because he missed weight by half a pound, that doesn't make it not a defense. He defended against Gaethje, defended against Poirier. Just recently, he just smoked Beneil Dariush, who was on a great streak as well. So Charles Oliveira, he's not an easy guy to beat. I know I spelled his name wrong there. And the only guy that's actually beaten Charles Oliveira is the champ himself, Islam Makhachev, who a lot of people want to say he's the new coming of Khabib. Yes, he's Dagestani. Yes, he trains with Khabib. Yes, he's a grappler. But when you look at the styles, he's got a different style to Khabib. He's still an S-tier wrestler. He can still ragdoll most people in the division like he did with Bobby Green and Dan Hooker. But he's also a decent striker as well. He went toe-to-toe with Oliveira, dropped him. He went toe-to-toe with Alexander Volkanovski. And so far he's the current champ with 1 defense. And people like to say about Islam Makhachev that maybe his run to the title wasn't amazing. He got a title shot off beating Bobby Green. But then you actually look at his actual title fights. He beat Charles Oliveira and then he beat Alexander Volkanovski. 2 of those wins back-to-back aren't easy to do, and then in 2 weeks' time he's going to be facing Charles Oliveira again. Then he's probably going to have to face Volkanovski or Gaethje again or something like that. And so far he's got 1 defense. I think he's probably going to have to get 2 after UFC 294, but the champions in this division are extremely competitive. It is not easy to win this belt. Let me just compare this to a different division. Let's compare this to the light heavyweight division. Look how many champions we've had since 2020. We had John Jones as the light heavyweight champion in 2020. Then he vacated the belt. Then obviously Jan Blachowicz won it in 2021. He also lost it to Glover Teixeira in 2021 as well. Then in 2022, Glover Teixeira faces Yuri Prohaska, loses it to Yuri. Then Yuri gets injured. Then in early 2023, we see Jamal Hill beat Glover again for the belt. And now Jamal Hill's injured, and we're going to have to see another champion in either Alex Pereira or Yuri Prohaska. Personally, my prediction for that fight, I do think Alex Pereira is going to come out with a win. But let's just compare it. Since 2020, we've had 3 lightweight champions. Just 3. We've had Khabib, we've had Islam, and we've had Charles Oliveira. Since 2020, we've had, 6? By the end of the year, that would have been 6. This belt is getting passed around like a hot. Let's just say that the divisions, it's competitive, but not in a good way. I'd rather see. I understand that people want to see the title change hands. But when it gets to the point where you can't even hold a belt and every single champion or every single contender is getting a turn of holding the belt, it doesn't really have the same value. I feel like the belt has much more value when it's a belt that only a few people have had and they've gone on to get a lot of defenses, like Oliveira, like Islam, and like Khabib. But yeah, compared to the light heavyweight division, the lightweight belt is much more kind of valuable. And my final reason why I think the lightweight division is stacked is because, like I said before, it's sandwiched between 2 other stacked divisions. It's sandwiched between the featherweight division and the welterweight division. You know, people want to say that, Alexander Volkanovski moved up for the belt. Alexander Volkanovski is a huge star, and he's predominantly in the featherweight division, and he moved up, brought a lot of eyes to the lightweight division, trying to get double champ, and I believe he'll move up again. He's got a fight with Topuria coming up, I think, in UFC 297, and if he beats Topuria, it's no doubt that after a while he's going to be going for that lightweight belt again, no matter who's champion. So we even had people like Holloway moving up. Obviously, he used to fight in the lightweight division. He does a lot better at featherweight, but Holloway, I think him moving up to lightweight would be a good idea at some point. Then we've also got people like Colby and Islam. There's a theoretical fight going on right now between Colby and Islam. Obviously that could happen in the welterweight division because Islam has been calling out Leon in the welterweight division, but there's just a lot of kind of fights to be made around the lightweight and welterweight side, or the lightweight and featherweight side, and for me, I just feel like it's the prime division. Like, if you win a belt in the lightweight division, you're going to get more eyes on you than most other divisions, in my opinion. So for me, that is why the lightweight division is the most stacked division in the UFC. Please let me know what your thoughts are on this division. Is it your favourite division? Maybe it's something like bantamweight, but either way, thank you for watching.